Hey, to all my double digit followers, yay! Um, Welcome back. And 2 days before the election, well, actually a day now, we're going to talk about how to handle anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans behavior. But this advice can go for any group. So yeah, so let's see what no one else really wants to talk about. So you know, this is an article I just recently saw by the Associated Press. It was like last week. Um, let's be real honest. This election's terrifying, not because it shakes to our core of our political beliefs, and we don't want to be wrong. Like I've talked to a lot of people that are like, well, I don't really want to be wrong with my choice. It's like it's a vote. You don't have a wrong or right choice. Like whether you like that opinion or not, that's the choice in a vote. Um, but you can have harmful actions, and those actions can lead to even more harm being done to an already marginalized community, like for example the trans community. Um, the trans community. I There aren't many of us. For anybody that actually knows the statistics, 0.5% of all Americans are trans. So you have a much higher likelihood of being struck in an airplane while flying than being born trans. And it seems like there are a lot of us, but that's mostly fear mongering. I'm the only trans female to my knowledge, and it's not my place or my position to out anyone at my current school. But I'm one of the only trans women at my college, and I'm in an all women's college. So of course I get anxious, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do this and this, and I have to make sure that I present a certain way. I guess whatever your opinions on that, sure we should all present the way we want to, but life's not always that way. But this election is bringing into question a lot of fear and anxiety. And I wanted to talk about that. And this isn't a popular opinion, but it's an opinion. So if you don't like it, I guess let me know why you don't like it. But I would say, and I've done this to experience, one of the best ways to deal with current and future anti-trans or anti-LGBTQ um, behavior from other people is to be the example. My biggest fear, and this is very wrong of me, and I totally acknowledge it, but it's a fear. And it would be wrong of me still to not express these fears, to sit here and be like, you got it, guys, buckle up and do it. Yeah, that's bullshit. We all know that's bullshit. Is to become like a meme or become like a 30-second snapshot, like what happened a few years ago with the woman that was misgendered in GameStop, and she screamed out, "It's ma'am," and it was recorded and it was used in a very negative and harmful way, in a very inappropriate way. And it's like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that fear of I don't want to be that, so how do I handle it? Somebody misgenders you, somebody calls you out. I have had issues where people have waited outside a bathroom for me. Like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I just had to pee really bad. Or people send me a hate mail, and I've heard stories from people like that they've had guns drawn on them from concealed carry persons, and it's scary. We have people that are dying. Other trans women are dying, and that's terrifying. So how do we process that? Well, first and foremost, just know that for every bad person out there, there's about 5 good people. Good people struggle to speak out, and they're not going to get media attention. So just remind yourself, if you haven't found good people, keep trying. I had to move to a new school. My old college was Catholic, and it was in northeastern Pennsylvania. And it was not the best. I had death threats. At my job as a mental health worker, I was helping people, and I was good at what I did. But I got death threats. I'm in the military currently. I'm a fucking sergeant in the United States Army. I earned that. I'm a highly decorated sergeant in the United States Army, and I have all but been removed from a squad leader position. I have been told not to show up to drill anymore. I've been told not to serve anymore, and that they're processing me out and bullshit like that. But that's another video. So I get it. It sucks. And you always have that awkward, like, you come out, or you had this friend, and then they're like, I'm super supportive. And that's really the last thing they say to you. They just kind of like, they look at you. They have that look on their face, like they want to say something. They want to ask something. They want to express an opinion, but they're afraid of offending you. I've had so many people say, Eric, I'm afraid of offending you. Go ahead, try me. I bet you won't. There's no way that you could offend me, because I have said worse things to myself than you could ever say when trying to ask me a question. And with this election coming up, we really have to ask ourselves, how are we going to process this? Does Trump get elected for another 4 years? If he doesn't, and someone else, or like Biden or Joe, how do we handle it? How do we handle the negative response? Again, be the example. Think like everyone's recording you, and also think to yourself, you don't want to see a recording of you or a statement you say end up being used against us. I've known so many amazing trans people that are amazing advocates, and they will fight tooth and nail for our rights. But one thing they say can be taken out of context, because they're like, I'm not going to put up with this bullshit, and I get that. And that's okay. If that's how you want to do it, that's your form of advocacy. But just know that, like, say you come across a Trump supporter, and they're very negative against LGBTQ. They don't know you're trans, and you become friends, or you talk, and then all of a sudden it comes out, and they're like, oh, I never knew, or you don't look that way, or you don't act that way, and all this stuff. And it's like, you could respond with something sarcastic, like, oh, I don't look like a man with a beard, or I don't have like a deep raspy voice, or I don't, I'm not busting into bathrooms looking for the youngest girl. Like, you can respond with that. You can respond with, oh, thank you, like a compliment, however you want to respond. Normally what I do is, so it's like, oh yeah, I'd be honest. I'm like, yeah, it's just not safe for me to be open, and sometimes I'll add in, depending on the person, like, yeah, it's none of anyone's business, like who I was, what I did, my past, like, judge me for who I am. And it could lead to violence, and that's scary. And that requires a very good coping mechanisms, self-care. I'm a bad person to be asking this, but like, I was an alcoholic for a long time, especially when I was married, without getting into any details, because honestly, it's someone's business. But they were abusive, and I drank to deal with it. And after I left, I still drank to deal with it. I abused supplements to get my weight down. I abused food, and honestly, having healthy coping mechanisms, having friends. Like, I know, like, if it's like 2, 3 in the morning and I can't sleep, I can go walk around my campus and I'll run into someone. I can go talk to them. Or I can call up somebody, a friend that I have here, or I can go to my coach. I play field hockey, so I can go to my field hockey coach, or I can go to my teammates, or I can go to, like, my mom. She's coming around. I have those people that we can go to, because it's nice to sit here and say, yeah, I'm a strong, independent woman. And fuck it, I am. I dealt with a lot of bullshit. We all did. We all still do. But we still need help. And sometimes the help we get from other LGBTQ people are not the best, only because we're all afraid. We're all scared. And when you go to someone who's also scared, for advice, they kind of can accidentally make it worse. So, like, I paint, I draw, I walk, I listen to music, I work out, Whatever works for you to be your coping mechanism, keep that ready. And when you come across people that are anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ, harassing you, sending messages, just remind yourself, be the example. How would you want your face to show up on Fox News? Would you want to be shown up as a stubborn, like for me, it would be, oh, this stubborn, disabled veteran male who thinks they're female is sitting there talking about love and acceptance. I'd rather be that than saying, look at this typical man who thinks they're a woman and they're yelling and demanding we accept their lifestyle. If any of you know this or watch me or have talked to me, this isn't a lifestyle. Why the fuck would anybody choose this lifestyle? Choosing to be happy, I guess. I don't know. And choose to be trans. Just like the world didn't choose me to be trans. So, ask yourself, how would you want to show up on the news? Because my biggest fear is that someone can weaponize me and use me against other people that I love and other people that I want to succeed. And to some, this may sound like compliance. I promise you it's not. Compliance is sitting by and saying, okay, I don't really agree with President Trump saying that he doesn't really approve and he's not allowing trans people in the military and he's taking away trans rights. But I'm going to vote for him anyway because I have this one view or one opinion. That's compliance. Advocacy and supporting others is taking an active stand and not letting people change who you are. You're not a bad person. I don't believe that. So don't give them what they're trying to hope for. Don't give them the weapon that they're hoping to use against us, against you, because you're better than that. We're better than that. And shit, I can't tell you how many times I've killed Republicans with love than yelling, and had them reconsider their views because they're like, wow, I just met a trans person. They're not the scary people that I thought they were. She was actually really kind and helpful and talked to me and treated me like a person. And, that goes farther, much farther than you think. Because now you've probably changed the view of one person. Whereas before, if you would yell at them, you could yell at 1 million people and maybe you change 3 or 4. Yelling installs guilt in people. Making people feel bad is guilt. And as trans people or LGBTQ, we know all about being guilted. And ask yourself, did it work when people guilted you to try to be straight or to try to be cisgendered? No? Didn't work for me either. So why would it work against somebody that doesn't support us? Something to think about, but that's all for today. Be safe, be well. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or concerns. And remember, healthy coping mechanisms. Take care of yourself.